Let's begin in Anambra State, where ahead of the governorship election slated for Saturday, November 8, 2025, over 3,260 delegates are set to elect their preferred governorship candidate for the All Progressives Grand Alliance APGA. The APGA primary election, holding at the Dr. Alex Ekweme Square, Awka, the state capital, is conducted by a 5-man electoral committee led by Uche Nwegbo, that's the Deputy National Chairman South of the party. The party's National Organizing Secretary, Secretary Electoral Committee 2025, Ifeanyi Mberi, has issued guidelines for the 2025 Anambra governorship primary election with accreditation for delegates and observers beginning at 8 a.m. Reports suggest that Professor Chukwuma Soludo, the incumbent governor of Anambra State, has been cleared by the party as the sole aspirant to contest the primary election. Some of the delegates spoke to News Central on the ongoing process.
We thank God for this day. I believe that everything will go normal.
As you can see, things are moving. Accreditation is ongoing, very orderly. I'm one of the persons doing the accreditation.
I think we are going to leave here very early. It's very smooth, properly organized. So I am happy with the organizers. With this, the accreditation can be over within 2 hours. And
when you come outside, there's every local government is given a canopy. You go there, you present your identification. Then they will give you a tag. With the tag, you come inside, and there's another allocation for every local government. Again, you go there, they give you another tag that is APGA delegate card, and that's what I'm wearing now.
In the meantime, delegates of Labour Party for the primaries in Anambra State have converged at Finhotel Awka venue for the exercise. Accreditation of the delegates is ongoing by the officials, while INEC officials are also seated observing the process. The chairman of Labour Party Southeast, C.K. Igara, and the chairman of the primary committee both believe the process will yield positive results. Also, the state chairman of the party, Emmanuel Eme, is optimistic that the process will be violence-free.
No.
There's none?
No.
So, but what do you think the judgment by the Supreme Court yesterday can do to this process here today? Will it affect it?
The process is going. The fact is that the judgment said that it is internal party affair. And who was there before we go to court? It is Abure. So we will now go back to Abure to reconcile. You understand me?
Okay, so what you're saying is that it will not in any way...
It will not affect anything. It will not affect anything. This thing is going on and we are moving on. You understand me? So, whatever they want to do, let them go to court again. That's it. That is the language of Nigeria.
Okay, so concerning the primaries today, what are your expectations? Are your people prepared to have a free and smooth election to, elect the candidate of the party?
Actually, we are prepared. You see, all the local governments are here, all the delegates are here, showing you the enthusiasm of the people to elect somebody that will carry their flag.
Now we have our correspondent, Chinwe Ugele, joining us for more updates. Thank you for joining, Chinwe.
Thank you very much for having me.
Please go ahead and give us an update on the exercise so far.
Okay, just a while ago, voting process ended here at the venue of the Labour Party primary at Finhotel Hotel in Awka. And counting is about to begin. And I want to tell you that the process was quite smooth and free. Everybody is sitting down and waiting earnestly to hear the outcome of the results. So, but then before now, some of the aspirants of the election had withdrawn from the ring. Taking a look at the lone transparent thing. So it's more of an affirmation that we are going to see at the end of the day. But then don't also take it for granted that some people may still want to vote for who had already stepped down from the election. But then it's quite a very peaceful atmosphere that we have here at the Labour Party primary in Chicago.
All right, Chinwe, why exactly, did some of the aspirants withdraw from the race?
Well, I do not have any idea why that happened, but then it may not also be unconnected with the tussle that the party had been immersed in recent time. And also, some people may have, consider themselves not too fit to stand in for the election. I do not have an idea why, but I'm just thinking probably these are the reasons why some of them must have dropped from the race. I also understand the same scenario is playing out at APC, where some aspirants are also dropping their ambitions.
Okay, now have you been able to get the feelings of some of the delegates who are being accredited, today?
That again, is it in Labour Party?
Yes, the Labour Party.
All the delegates that came out here got accredited, and there were some who didn't come, but then it was quite a transparent process because INEC officials were here from the morning and around observing the process. So the process of accreditation was quite transparent. Everybody saw there were people who did not make it that the accreditation because they did not qualify, they were not in their various roles during the election. So the accreditation process here was smooth, it was transparent, and there's no whatsoever in this area.
All right, well, thank you so much, Chinwe, for that update. We'll definitely get back to you for more on this. Meanwhile, the APC delegates for the Anambra State governorship primary election have raised concerns over the extended delay in the process of electing a candidate to fly the party's flag in the November 8, 2025 governorship election. News Central correspondent Austin Azur, reporting live from Awka, the Anambra State capital, had an interactive session with a diverse group of party loyalists who freely expressed their thoughts.
Currently, we are at the venue where the APC primary ought to have commenced before now, but at the moment you can see that this place is quite, empty, unlike they had earlier on in the morning. And from reliable information we are gathering at the moment, it seems the officials are gradually coming, but we don't know yet. However, we're going to speak to some of the leaderships who are from the state who are here. But we have one of the delegates, Mr. Edepo. Mr. Adebo, okay, bring us to speed. Tell us what's causing the delay. How long have you been here?
I don't know what is causing the delay. We are here since morning time, waiting for the people that we accredited. So we are still waiting.
So what's the signal like? We are seeing kind of rally session. People are trying to look at the gate. What's happening from the?
They are aware. Maybe they are coming. We are expecting them now.
Has this caused any anxiety among the party faithful who have been waiting to?
I don't think. We are still waiting. We are waiting for them, and we know they will come. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, just a quick one. We'll move down straight to the woman leader, APC, Anambra State, to share to us. This is Maria. Yeah. Okay, all right. Ma, you are live.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us what is causing the delay.
It's from the people from Abuja. We have not seen them because all the delegates are here. We have been waiting for them to come, so we don't know what is their problem, why they are not here now. Because we have been here since 8 o'clock.
It seems some people are beginning to nurse fear about their security. Obviously, this process, of course, will snowball into the night. What is the guarantee of their security in this process?
Exactly what people are saying, that a lot of people, looking around, you will see fathers and mothers and young people. And some of them don't want to stay overnight because of the insecurity in the state. And we are so worried, though the party made adequate arrangements for security, So we are just looking forward. As soon as they come, like I said, it's 1,630 delegates. It won't take time. Everything will just end within 2 or 3 hours. It will end.
Okay, but however, looking at what is at ground at the moment, this is a venue for the accreditation, and of course, the voting will take place in another location, which is going to cause a little bit delay. Are you not worried about that as well?
No, the where we are going to do the voting is just like 5 minutes to the place. It's not far. You can even take a walk to that place, so it's not far. So we are not worried about the distance. We can walk there.
Okay, lastly, do you think your party is united for them to be able to produce one candidate that will be able to, face other candidates in the November 8th governorship election here in Anambra State?
This is democracy, Everybody has the right to come and contest. It depends on the capability of that person. Unity or no unity, definitely one person will emerge. And once that person emerges, all of us will join hands and make sure we deliver the person. So the issue of if there's unity, we have unity. We have about 7 aspirants, but so far, only 3 are contesting. 4 stepped down yesterday. 1 person just went out of the party, So we are having only 3 now. And I believe that as soon as 1 person emerges, all of us will join hands and deliver the person, because we want to connect ourselves to the center. We want to be part of what APC are doing. We want to be part of the renewed hope.
Thank you very much. And of course, it means that the 3 aspirants will be slugging it out among themselves to enable them have one candidate that will contest alongside with other candidates for the November governorship election poll here in Anambra State.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Austin, for that update. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll tell you how the Labour Party of Nigeria has dismissed reports claiming that its national chairman has been sacked. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Now, the Labour Party of Nigeria has dismissed reports claiming that its national chairman, Julius Abure, has been sacked by the nation's apex court. Several executive members of the party spoke to newsmen in Abuja, saying that the reports do not reflect the actual position of the Supreme Court and have been interpreted out of context. They say the decision of the apex court affirms Abure as the national chairman of the party, as he was duly elected by a convention of the party as stipulated in the party's guidelines and affirmed by the Supreme Court.
I want to make it very clear that the Court of Appeal judgment in Labour Party versus Ebishena and 2 others decided on 13th November 2024 is still standing, is subsisting, and it is still binding. That judgment has not been appealed against. That judgment said that the leadership of the party rests on the National Executive Committee led by Barrister Julius Abure. That judgment is still there. The Supreme Court today did not set aside that judgment. What the Supreme Court said was that the Court of Appeal, in the appeal filed by Nenadi, shouldn't have made any reference to anything concerning leadership. They should have just kept quiet. Since that court said it did not have jurisdiction, it should have not gone any further. Today, Labour Party is standing tall with the National Executive Committee elected on March 27, 2024. And we stand on that.
Today in the court, there was nowhere they said that Julius Abure ceases to be the national chairman of Labour Party. And there is nowhere they say that the illegal National Caretaker Committee should take over the leadership of Labour Party. In fact, the illegal National Caretaker Committee was not mentioned anywhere throughout the proceedings in the court today.
In the constitution of the party, you have the word executive, You have the local government executive, you have the state executive, you have the national working committee, you have the national executive committee, and you have the national convention. This is what the party is all about. The people that are running about, they should tell you which one did they belong to in all of this. In their ward, they are not even known. They are not members. They came to come and support somebody that we accepted into the party. And they are being used by God knows who to come and scatter the process that Nigerians are looking forward to for a new Nigeria. That is exactly the script they are playing. But unfortunately, they have failed.
Now to discuss this, we're joined by legal practitioner and member, Labour Party, Monday Mawa. Thank you so much, Monday, for joining us on the news.
Thank you for having me.
Now, speaking from a professional perspective, how do you interpret the implications of the Supreme Court's ruling in this case?
Well, to be honest with you, as we talk now, they have confused me as to what actually transpired in Supreme Court yesterday. Unfortunately, I was not in the court yesterday when that judgment was delivered. And as a result of that, I will not be able to give you a full or a first-hand information now as to what transpired yesterday, because the both parties that went to that court, they both ran out jubilating. Those loyal to Julius Abure came up celebrating that they got judgment. The other one, loyal to Nanadi-led ethical committee, came up to say, oh, Abure has been sacked. So I think until I get hold of the certified true copy of the judgment of the Apex Court yesterday, I won't be able to tell you for a fact now the true position of what transpired in Supreme Court yesterday. But what from what we have all known from time immemorial that has been the practice of Supreme Court is that they always want the court below, both the Court of Appeal and the other high courts, both Federal High Court and State High Court, that they should never dabble into leadership matter of a political party. And that issue of leadership matter of a political party is not justiciable. In other words, when you say something is not justiciable, it means that it is not litigatable. It is not what a court can dabble into. Because the Supreme Court over the year has said or consistently maintained that it is the duty of the party and its members to decide whom their leader is. And that is not the duty of the court to appoint or choose leadership for any political party. And that is clearly outside the jurisdiction of the court.
Okay, Monday. So, it's quite hilarious, when you say that you're confused. But then
yes.
We'll wait for you to get the certified true copy. But before that, can you explain how enforceability of the Supreme Court's verdict is affected by the claims of the leadership by both Abure and Nenadi Usman, particularly in terms of party governance and internal party structures?
Please, I didn't get that.
I was asking if you could explain, the enforceability of the Supreme Court's verdict and how it is affected by the claims of leadership by both Abure and Nenadi Usman, particularly when it comes to, party governance and internal party structures.
Well, first, I think we also need to understand, particularly for those that are just following, that are not conversant with what brought Labour Party to where we are now. Now, sometime in 2000, I think around March, Abure-led executive held a national convention in Nnewi, Anambra State, which produced Abure and the other executive members that are currently piloting the affair of the party. Now, that convention was disowned by many stakeholders of the party, including the presidential candidate of Labour Party in the 2023 general election, Mr. Peter Obi, and then the governor of Abia State, Mr. Oti. Now, being dissatisfied with the outcome of that convention, a meeting was held in Abia State in which Senator Nanadi was elected to become a caretaker chairman of a caretaker committee to oversee the affair of Labour Party pending to when another convention will be organized. Now, as a result of that, Abure was denied an entrance into INEC quarterly meeting. Then Abure ran to the Federal High Court to say, well, I have conducted a convention which I had also notified INEC in compliance with the Electoral Act. I gave them 21-day notice, but INEC did not attend for their own reason. Now, does that invalidate the convention that I have conducted? And the court of in Federal High Court, presided by Honorable Justice Omotosho James, affirmed and granted all the relief sought by Abure that INEC, for the fact that INEC did not participate in that convention, does not remove any validity from the convention. And the court held that Abure convention was valid, thereby upholding the leadership of Abure. Dissatisfied by that decision, Nenadi and his group, meanwhile, the case initially was not against Nenadi. Nenadi was not initially a party in the suit. It was Abure against INEC. But Nenadi brought an application to be joined as an interested party. Then, when they were not satisfied with that judgment, they appealed to Court of Appeal. And Court of Appeal affirmed the decision of the lower court. They further appealed to the Supreme Court, and yesterday was the judgment of that Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court said, no, it is not the duty of court to appoint leadership for the parties. That appointment or election of leadership of the party is within the exclusive preserve of the party, and that they cannot decide who is the leadership of the party. Now, having done that yesterday, we are now left with more confusion, my sister. The confusion now is that who is now the chairman of the party? Should we now follow the Abure-led body, or we should follow the Nanadi-led caretaker committee? So that was why I told you earlier on that I am more confused than I was before that judgment yesterday.
Oh, I definitely understand where you're coming from. But just before we wrap up, to what extent should legal outcomes, such as this, such as the Supreme Court ruling, be considered separate from political outcomes when it comes to leadership disputes? Briefly, please.
Well, I think for me, what transpired yesterday, I think the learned justices of the Supreme Court in their infinite wisdom need to begin to look at this thing from another perspective. I had a very long discussion with a colleague this morning, and we had a discussion about it, because what is going on now, the political parties and their leadership will become more desperate. And the aftermath, the effect or the implication of that is that it's going to create so much unrest in the system if the court continually decide to remove himself from deciding issue of leadership. In other words, if tomorrow, your humble self you are now, you can just wake up and now, if you can by any means exert yourself as a leader of a political party. If I now decide to go to court to challenge you that, no, this woman is not a member of this party, he cannot be a leader of this party, the court will tell me it's an issue of leadership, that therefore they cannot dabble into it. And that will create anarchy. Okay. So the point is, Nanadi Usman before now was never a member of Labour Party. From nowhere, they brought her in, and then they said, oh, it's not the caretaker committee chairman. And then the matter went to court. Now the Supreme Court will now tell you, I can no longer decide who is the leader of the party. So in other words, we are getting to a point where a person can just wake up overnight, seize the leadership of a party by force, sit on the chair, and then begin to administer the party. And the court, where is the only place we cannot run to go and complain, will now tell you, well, whatever you can do, go and do it. We cannot interfere into the leadership of the party.
All right.
So this is my worry. And this is my fear, that the Supreme Court need to look at this thing again. Because if you allow politicians to do whatever they like, the country will soon become a banana republic. Because don't forget, whatever happened in the political party, we eventually rub off on the entire country.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people would have something to say about, allowing politicians do whatever they like. But then, thank you so much, Monday, for your time and for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Now to security matters. The Councils to Nigeria's Shiite group have accused security operatives comprising personnel of the Nigerian police force and the Nigerian military of gross rights abuse against members of the group. Some of the councils, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, say that over 60 minors remain in police custody following an unprovoked attack on their members during their process in Abuja. Now, that's the procession in Abuja. They add that 30 members of the Shiite group sustained life-threatening injuries, while a total of 274 others were arrested.
Our clients came out on the 28th day of March 2025 to commemorate their annual International Quds Day like their counterparts across the globe, while peacefully carrying out a procession in Banix area of Wuse 2, Abuja. In their thousands, they unexpectedly and surprisingly came across a group of armed soldiers who, without provocation, started firing live ammunition at our clients. In the course of this inhuman, callous, cruel, barbaric, and most horrific attack on our clients, about 26 persons lost their lives. Over 30 persons sustained various degrees of life-threatening injuries. About 274 persons were arrested by the soldiers. Despite several appeals, the police is yet to release corpses of persons who were brutally killed by the soldiers. The corpses are now deposited in secret hospitals, which is against Islamic rights that provides for prompt and immediate burial of deceased persons.
Now, moving to insecurity, a calm has been restored in 5 communities of Mongor, Monguna, Dafohurti, and Tade that came under violent attacks in Boko's local government area of Plateau State following an invasion by unknown gunmen. The commander of Operation Rainbow, Brigadier General Gekchi Shipi, retired, confirmed this in an interview with journalists in Jos, the state capital. News Central's Chizabanyowe tells us more.
In recent months, Plateau State had witnessed some level of relative peace, giving rise to socio-economic activities coming back to life after a long time. However, attackers on Wednesday struck multiple villages where land disputes between Muslim Fulani herders and mostly Christian farmers are known to descend into deadly violence, killing many people in 5 communities of Boko's local government area of the state. While at the Plateau State Police Command for details of the incident, I was told they are yet to brief journalists. However, Commander of Operation Rainbow, Brigadier General Gekchi Shipi, retired, condemned the act of violence.
A lot of communities have been raised and some casualties have been recorded. The exact figures are not yet concluded because up till now we are still undertaking operations to determine the total extent of casualties. But we have definitely recorded some, and in a very gruesome manner for that matter.
Efforts to visit Bokos was unsuccessful as security experts advised otherwise for safety reasons, except for security personnel.
There are some people that just instigated this for their own selfish reasons. We are all aware that there are people who benefit from insecurity. And I think the peace we've enjoyed all this time has put their business at a standstill. Gladly, the security agencies have made some very important arrests that are helping us to unveil what has gone wrong. And at the appropriate time when the investigations are completed, you will also be informed.
While security personnel remain on the ground to ensure that there is no further breakdown of law and order in Boko's local government area of Plateau State, people are expecting that they will still do everything possible to ensure that there is no reoccurrence of such an incident again. From the headquarters of Operation Rainbow in Jos, Plateau State for News Central, Chizoba Anyowe.
But now, stakeholders from oil-producing communities in Bayelsa State have commended Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited for its community-focused approach to surveilling and protecting the Trans-Niger pipeline, which spans across Niger Delta states. At a recent stakeholders meeting in Yenagwa, Bayelsa State, PINL, the agency responsible for securing the Trans-Niger pipeline, reaffirmed its commitment to safeguarding critical national oil facilities under its watch, ensuring their protection at all costs. News Central correspondent Biola Festus has details.
The Trans-Niger pipeline is Nigeria's primary crude oil transportation channel, spanning across communities in Niger Delta states. With the pipeline laid in communities, it is imperative to incorporate locals in the monitoring and surveillance process for optimal efficiency. Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited, PINL, the surveillance company overseeing the Trans-Niger pipeline, is engaging in regional stakeholder meetings to align interests and develop strategies for safeguarding Nigeria's crude oil resources beneath their soil.
We have been able to ensure zero infraction on the pipeline, and we pray that the support will continue so that at the end of the day we'll be able to reduce environmental degradation in our communities. Same way, we will help to increase crude oil production and provide more revenue for the federal government.
Present at the meeting are traditional rulers, youth leaders, women and stakeholders from Ogbia, Southern Ijo and Yenagwa local government areas. Acknowledging some concerns raised by community representatives, the management of the PINL pledged to strengthen its communication approach as well as community engagement strategies.
In the course of recruiting our surveillance guards, we give 100% to the communities where the pipeline traverses, and we have gotten over 100% support and cooperation from the communities.
By its renewed stakeholders engagement approach, PINL demonstrates its commitment to transparency and cooperation. Participants in the stakeholders meeting expressed satisfaction with PINL's operational model, marking a positive step towards effective pipeline management and community partnership. Marking a positive step towards effective pipeline management and community partnership.
We are in a crucial period following the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State. However, we should not take things for granted in the security of oil facilities in our domains. We have to protect our pipelines and oil platforms.
The corporate social responsibility is not highly pointed out in their PowerPoint. The academic side of the company is not well sound to my hearing. You mentioned bursary. How is bursary distributed? Who are the beneficiary of the bursary? Who are the target people in your bursary?
Pipeline Infrastructure Nigeria Limited, please also do your correspondent to the federal government, to NNPC, that they should address the people of the Niger Delta concerning the PIA. If that is not done, I can tell you that they are exposing the credibility and integrity of your company to danger. And one other thing that must be taken, the pipes we have around our backyards are obsolete pipes, pipes that have been there for over 50 years, 40 years, and then they ask you to come and mine the same pipe.
Shell, Ajib, Chevron, and the rest production companies we see that truly gets the bulk of the money on account of oil production, we don't see them. What we see here is pipeline infrastructure and perhaps Tantita. The whole effort is geared towards addressing issues that should have been done by the NNPC or federal government itself.
As the old saying goes, a man's head cannot be shaved behind him, emphasizing the importance of involving locals in decisions affecting their communities. This collaborative approach aims to protect Nigeria's crude oil wealth and address concerns raised by community representatives. In Yenagoa, for News Central, Biola Festus.
Away from Nigeria, children from various parts of Africa are participating in the second biennial Africa Children's Summit themed Seen, Heard and Engaged in Education. The summit's agenda is to concentrate on the amplification of children's voices on priority issues including child protection, violence against children, the effects of climate change and many other topics affecting children. A resolution from the summit will be drafted and presented to the African Union's Committee of Experts and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa. Over 1,000 children from 54 states are in attendance. The event runs from the 4th to 7th of April. Tunisia has dismantled camps housing thousands of undocumented migrants from sub-Saharan Africa following a social media-led campaign against their presence. Now, the camps, located in the eastern regions of El Amra and Jebeniana, had housed around 20,000 migrants. Authorities cleared one of the camps with approximately 4,000 migrants, leaving some dispersing into the countryside. Health authorities have stepped in to assist vulnerable individuals, including pregnant women and the sick.
العمل الهدف الأولاني اللي هو إزالة المخيمات العشوائية اللي صارت تحت إطار قانوني أمني وكذلك ذات بعد إنساني اجتماعي اللي تم فيه إزالة كامل المخيم اللي موجود في التاتنا على مستوى كيلومتر 24 اللي هو يعتبر من أكبر المخيمات اللي موجودة تقريبا فيهم 4000 شخص من أفارقة جنوب الصحراء من مختلف الجنسيات. بالنسبة للعملية صارت باعتبار اللي كونه ثم العديد من القضايا اللي العدلية اللي تم تسجيلها في خصوص اقتحام الأماكن الخاصة وكذلك الأماكن العامة، بالتالي فإن الواجب اللي هو يفرض استتباب الأمن وإزالة مختلف جميع أشكال الفوضى اللي موجودة واللي عازمة فيها الدولة التونسية في خصوص عدم الرجوع إلى هذه.
Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye said that he had done everything possible to reintegrate Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger back into the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, but his efforts have been unsuccessful. And the three Sahel nations left ECOWAS earlier this year, accusing the bloc of being subservient to France and inefficient in the fight against jihadism. These countries have since formed the Alliance of Sahel States, distancing themselves from France and aligning more with Russia. Faye, appointed as ECOWAS mediator, shared in a 4-hour interview that he had urged dialogue to preserve regional unity but acknowledged the sovereignty of the breakaway nations. Now, regarding Senegal's relations with France, Faye emphasized that Paris remains an important partner, but Senegal is negotiating the withdrawal of French troops from its territory by the end of this year. In business, the development and growth of fintechs in Nigeria has played a major role in efficiently filling financing gaps by eliminating the need for physical banks and reaching millions who were unbanked. However, there is a continuous need to continue to grow and support these sectors so as to reach the natural resource value chain, which encompasses energy, agriculture, and minerals. Group CEO of Moneda Invest Africa, Ejike Egbagu, highlighted the pressing demand for a financial solution that comprehends the challenges faced by SMEs in Africa's key industries.
The beginning of the understanding is that in Africa, banking doesn't really work. That's the beginning of the thesis that we have. It doesn't really work. It creates bigger banks, but doesn't create bigger borrowers. And it's not the bank's fault. It's more structural. It's about the way our economies are set up, the way our currencies are structured, as opposed to other global currencies, and other defects that our markets have. So what that means is that if we really want to make a dent in the problems of our continent, we have to create a different type of financial institution, which is half bank, half operator.
In the world of sports, as the African Women's Club Volleyball Championship heats up in Abuja, Botswana's Spiking Stars coach Thabo Dale has expressed appreciation for the warm reception received from the hosts Nigeria Customs Service. Now, speaking during live updates on our weekend sports show, In the Game, Thabo praised the hospitality and organization of the championship, which has brought together top volleyball clubs from across the continent.
So far, so good. We can't complain. We've been welcomed very well. The hospitality is good. The Nigerian Customs Service has really gone out to really make us at home welcome. They've given us quite good facilities to stay in. They are really taking good care of the tournament. So far, the organization is excellent on top of every technical matter. So I would say we are enjoying Nigeria.
Nigeria's six-time champions, Rivers Hoopers, have unveiled their roster ahead of their opening game in the Kalahari Conference of the 2025 Basketball African League against Mali's Stade Malien. Now, the lineup features dynamic guards Kelvin Amayo, Maxi Shamba, Michael Okiki, Johnson Anaive, and Abel Ofia. Supporting them in the forward positions are Ifeanyi Koko Jr., Madut Akek, Raphael Putney, and Buchi Nwaiwu. Peter Olisaemeka, Samuel Sani, and David Ike complete the squad as centers. The Kings men will tip off their 2025 campaign on Saturday in Morocco, where they face Stade Malien in their opening fixture. Rivers Hoopers are drawn in the Kalahari Conference alongside hosts FUS Rabat, Morocco, Egypt's Al Ittihad, and Stade Malien. This marks the club's third appearance at the BAL following their historic podium finish in the previous edition, the first ever by a Nigerian team. Now that's all at this hour, but before we go, let's take another look at some of our top stories. We told you that political parties are conducting primaries ahead of Anambra governorship election. We also told you that Labour Party Executive Committee members have insisted Julius Abure remains national chairman. Finally, you heard that Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has said efforts to reintegrate Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger back into ECOWAS have been unsuccessful. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Darshan Usman.